Hey, it's Willie Armellini from Flowers and Scents with your floral industry buzz. Today, in another edition of my historical series, we're going to talk to Bill Fernandez from Continental Flowers. Continental Flowers was one of the first importers in the Miami area, and Bill and I have a long history together. And before he sails off into the sunset, I would like to get an interview with him, and I did. So, without further ado, Bill Fernandez. All right, Bill Fernandez, Continental Flowers. My pleasure to have you here before you sail off into the sunset. And to get right into it, let's go all the way back. Okay, so a little bit what I'm doing here is doing a little bit of a history, not a lesson, but a history archive of what's going on. And since you and I have been around since dirt, it's about time we maybe document this. We've had this conversation a bunch of times personally, but I think this time we can do it. So, 1978, I believe.
Oh, 1974.
Well, let's okay. In '74, you started with Continental Flowers, right? Okay, and then I guess okay, 4 years later, 1978, I moved to Miami and was running the dock and a bunch of different things. And who used to show up there in his van to deliver flowers to me?
That was me. When we were a one-man operation in a little van, Armellini had one truck backed up into those old warehouse.
That far back. Okay, you're going back. That's to over back in the airport property, right?
Yeah, the airport property, the old wooden.
Those wooden and concrete things that were like built to handle tanks, as I remember.
Now, in those days, Armellini, when you backed up your trailer, you didn't even open the back door at first. You would only open
Side door.
side door.
Back when we had side doors, yeah. Well, that's a long time ago. So you started and let me go back a little further. So your parents, I believe, had a florist shop, right?
Yeah, my mother had a flower shop here in Hialeah, and since I was about 14 years old, and that's how I became aware of the flower. Not that I worked there, because I was going to college and I was working in a bank,
Oh, okay.
and uh, and so back around 1974, all of a sudden I see flower boxes show up in my mother's flower shop. No, Producto de Colombia, product of Colombia.
Uh,
Oh, since I would go by there once in a while, and of course, I was 20 years old at that time, and my mother asked me to, I would cut a bunch of boxes of flowers and carnations, put them in buckets of water for her and all that, so that she wouldn't have to do it.
right.
And that's how I ran into the flowers coming in from Colombia. And I said, wow, this could be a great opportunity for me. So
And that's when you started Continental Flowers?
yeah, right behind the flower shop, they had a little office area, like a 10-foot by 10-foot office, and then I put a 10 foot by 25-foot cooler, 10
Mm.
or 10 20-foot cooler in the back, and and at first I started by borrowing the flower shop's van, to pick up a few boxes at the airport, bring them back, and then take them over to Armellini. That time it was only Armellini, which made life simpler for.
Yeah, a little confusing today. Well, we're down again to two or three, I guess. I don't know however many left. But yeah, it was a different time then, for sure.
Yeah, but it was quite some time. It was the beginning of the flower industry, and
So you were
and
bringing carnations from Bogota, I guess.
yeah, I would, I actually called some phone numbers on the boxes, and since I speak Spanish because I'm Cuban, of course I would switch to Spanish when I introduced myself, and I was able to convince them to take a chance on me and send me 10 little boxes of carnations. 10
Yeah, it's
little
one of the unique things about the flower business. You don't have there's no contracts for the most part. You just okay, you agree to do it, you agree to pay, they send the flowers.
Exactly. I mean, this is a strange industry. Everything is good faith, handshake agreements. There's no written contracts, I have friends in other businesses that they need to get a letter of credit to send out $500 worth of product,
Right.
and in flowers that doesn't exist.
Sending you thousands of dollars worth of flowers, yeah, on a handshake.
And a handshake, and you're as good as your word. So, and the same thing, when we ship to wholesalers, no contracts either. It's all.
Right.
I love the industry. It's a very, I think it's a very handshake industry. It's a personal relationships. Uh, so nothing else out there that I know of.
Yeah, it is unique in that respect that we do, all this money exchanging hands and on handshakes. So here we come now, 2021. We've been through some interesting times, and I definitely wanted to get you because you have now sold your interest. You and your and Ophie have sold to your daughter and your son, which is a beautiful thing because you started from nothing. You created a nice business. You built a building, uh, and now you're able to sort of, extend your legacy by selling it off to your children. I love it.
Yeah, it was I always had the intention of growing the business enough to be able to attract my children if they chose to participate in the business. And started as a one-man operation, built it up over 47 years,
Hmm.
and then of course, at the same time, I was going to college at night to finish my education, which I did from Florida International University, and my wife also, she's a CPA from Florida International University, and the business grew and grew and grew, and then back in 1984, 85, we decided to become vertically integrated with the production side in Colombia. So we invested in with one partner and one farm, et cetera, et cetera. And we kept growing. Now we're actually partners in 5 different farms in Colombia.
Hmm.
Uh, so, of course, my children were not even born at that time when I started. And then later, as they grew older, we sent them to get the best education that they could have, and they did. And all 3 children went to great universities up in the Northeast, and we had a family involvement policy, which we heard about because my son Eric went to the University of Pennsylvania. He went to Wharton School of Business, and they touted that as a very important thing to have when you have children that might want to come into the business. And basically, we stated certain requirements that they had to do before they were allowed to come into the business, graduate and work from the university, work at least 3 years elsewhere, and then apply to the company. And they did so. They did so.
Okay. That's where Eric, because Eric worked for Burger King, as I remember. You.
Yeah, Eric worked for Burger King for 3G, the owners of Burger King, and he was doing mergers and acquisitions for them in their headquarters here in Miami, and for 3 years or 4 years. And then Trisha, after she graduated from Boston College, she worked in actuarial consulting in Boston,
Okay.
for, and then she did for like 5 years of auditing at a CPA firm here in Miami, in Brickell. And then they decided to come into the business, and Trisha started 15 years ago, and Eric almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, I like that policy. I tried to imply that at Armellini. I'm not sure it was successful, but yeah, everybody wants to jump into the business or not. In our case, in my case, I was born into it, so it wasn't no decision to make. There's a lot of trucks to unload and load, so there was always lots to do. Um, well, I think it's, a beautiful legacy that you have and that you can do this. And I certainly hope that you and Ophie can enjoy your retirement. I know I didn't ask you to prepare anything, but okay, so you've been in the flower business 47 years. You're about to, trot off into the sunset, and that's beautiful. But what are some parting words? So, what do you see? You have a unique perspective of the business, I suspect. So, what do you see going forward?
I think I think the business, as evidenced by this last year during the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, is very resilient. I think the business is going to continue increasing. Um, the first, the first few years were, of course, introducing South American product into the U.S. market, which was very tough, and but then eventually we got a foothold and kept going. But I think the business is going to continue increasing, as we saw now during the pandemic. The the business went down at first because nobody knew what was going to happen, nobody knew what to do, and
Right.
then as soon as everybody discovered we can deliver flowers just like we deliver pizza to people's homes. Business started picking up. Supermarkets never missed a beat
No.
because people had to go to the supermarket and buy it, and they were home, so they were buying flowers, and we the business bounced back and it's grew pretty much this year. The estimates that you hear are between 10 to 30% increases. And
Hmm. And you've seen that as well, of course.
we have, and now, so the question is now what's going to happen? Now what's going to happen? Now that business is going up, how are we going to keep it up? How are we going to keep people in the in the habit of buying flowers?
Good question. Hope there, as you may have heard, there's two different initiatives out there to try to promote flowers. There's a floral board thing that maybe you and I remember from way back when has resurrected, and Cal Flowers is trying to do something similar. So I don't know. Promotion is obviously one of those things that keeps popping its head up. Whether we should have some sort of national promotion for flowers, and it's a sticky one. We've been down that road a bunch of times, but maybe they'll do it.
Yeah, this new initiative, Floral Board, is looks like it's gaining traction. You got a lot of domestic producers are apparently in favor of it now. Now we got to convince everybody in the industry, all the importers, to also vote in favor when it does come up. We're still working on the details when it does, because nobody likes to pay for promotion, but my gosh, if it costs you 1% to increase 15 or 20%,
It's not a shouldn't be a big decision, right?
exactly.
Uh, all right, so you're sort of bullish on it, the market going forward, and one of the things that I know Continental that you did, you jumped into the mass market business 10 years ago, or when Eric came on board, I believe you sort of pointed him in that direction, and it's been fairly successful. You've managed to get your foot in the doors there.
Right, you're right. We're still very small, in the mass market end, but it's growing. It's picking up new customers all the time. We're getting ready. As a matter of fact, we're just in the process of buying more land in Colombia to expand production. So
Hmm.
because we anticipate more need for our product. So yeah, I think it's going to continue. I think it's going to continue, and we just got to, be big promoters for our industry, and people will buy flowers.
Yeah, they've proven to do so. I have so much selection here. It's almost ridiculous between all the supermarkets I have here and where I can go to buy flowers or food. And I don't know who supplies Trader Joe's, but they have sort of the best deal on flowers that I've seen. And people are just attacking the flower department when I see them walk in the door. I mean, everybody's walking out with flowers. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it's not just supermarkets, florists,
Yeah.
wholesalers. I called a florist a few months ago to send flowers to somebody out of state, and they're gangbusters. They were like so busy, you know, they were very busy. And this was not a holiday period. This is like a normal time, and I think it was in August or September.
Yeah, I went into a local florist here and they had 6 or 8 designers, just turning stuff out like crazy. So, hey, the business has been good to us over the many, many years, and I agree. I think it's going to continue. Who knows how long? Or I guess production now has finally caught up a little bit from the pandemic. Yes.
Production has caught up a little bit, and there's always a little slowdown right now around Thanksgiving week, and then everything changes from nobody wants yellow and orange, everybody wants red and white.
Oh yeah, change colors.
It takes time to switch over on that.
Yeah,
And
it's not a simple thing to do, but hey, you've been doing it for 47 years, so by now you have a pretty good idea what to do. So
still learning every day.
we're learning every day. Well, as you, like I'd like to say, sail off into the sunset, you don't have to learn too much anymore. Figure out, enjoy your time. You and Opie, I know you like to travel. I don't know if you still got a boat, but anyway,
We have 5 grandchildren,
and
so
you got 5 grandchildren, so you're busy. And
spending more time, hopefully traveling and seeing the grandkids and all that. And we have, let's see, 3 in Miami and 2 in New York.
Okay, yeah, well, I have them, all mine are in California. I'm going out to see them Thursday, so it's kids don't stick around, so they move around. It's okay. It's a good thing. Hey, Bill, thank you for your time, and it's been a pleasure, obviously knowing you, and I believe I will see you on the weekend. So I look forward to that, and also to see Ophi because she's my buddy too.
Okay. All right, Willie. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thanks. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
I heard